Case Study, Spring Arbor University, TSL 506, by Lauren Cryer. My case study's background is very common to a lot of my students. She's a 6th grade student at a public school in Taiwan that I teach at. She has straight A's in English, and she has studied English for about 3 to 4 years. She attends 3 English classes per week at school, one of which I teach her, and 2 other classes that the local English teacher teaches her. And she also attends twice per week classes at a private institute, which is very common for students to attend in Taiwan and other parts of Asia. She does not use English outside of the classroom, and she likes to learn English but does not like to read and write like most of my other students as well. Mandarin is her L1, and she also speaks Taiwanese at home frequently with her grandpa. So her background is very common to most of my students, and that's why I chose this student to be my case study, because I think I can apply many of the insights that I learn about her to my other students as well. Language assessment. According to the materials from this course, she is in the syllable, juncture, and transitional stage. On the scale of writing development, she is a level 8, because she can write a story or essay, but she needs a significant amount of scaffolding and guidance from a language teacher to do such. She is in the speech emergence stage, according to the Stages of Language Proficiency rubric. She can speak in phrases and short sentences, but she struggles to speak fluently and has some pronunciation errors that impede her intelligibility. She can use some limited academic language, and she is currently learning more in my class. She is starting to develop higher order thinking skills in English, such as recalling, describing, categorizing, comparing and contrasting, and defining. And she can answer why questions, but not how questions so far in English. Some common errors that my case study makes is confusion between short and long vowel articulation. Most of my students do not have a solid foundation in phonics, so this is another very common error with other students. She has pronunciation errors with TH, R, and L sounds, which is also common for speakers whose L1 is Mandarin. Her intonation is flat with little understanding of proper word stress and inflection, which are skills that are not usually focused on or taught in language skills in language classes in Taiwan and Asia. And she frequently leaves off ending sounds of words and leaves off the plural S. Sometimes her speech is unintelligible because of pronunciation and intonation errors. And she has an inconsistent use of have, has, and I, my, and she mainly uses conventional spelling, but some invented spelling as well. Some areas for improvement include her speaking, mainly because some speech is unintelligible, and her reading. Her reading comprehension skills are basic at best, because reading comprehension is not a skill that most students are taught here, especially at public schools. That's the type of skill that would be taught more at the private institutes if their parents are willing to pay to send them to extra English classes. She also has some socioaffective issues because she lacks confidence and is extremely shy to speak up in class and even one-on-one with myself or with the local English teacher. This is a very common trait for a lot of my students, even though they have very open personalities with their friends and they can speak maybe more freely in Mandarin. In English class, and their kind of English speaking identity is very reserved and very shy. And so I want to obviously work on this area to improve her confidence and speaking ability. On the right is a journal entry, the first journal entry that she did with me, and I first modeled how to write a journal because she had never done one before. And then I let her choose a topic that was a bit similar to my topic as well. And I asked her to first write in Chinese and then write in English. But later, after she was more comfortable with journal format, I think, then she just started to only write in English. So you can see the journal topic. Her favorite place is Japan. So she has a very good voice and expression while writing, but she needs more scaffolding about, vocabulary and complex sentence structure. Her writing skill is actually pretty high for her age and level, but that's why I'd like to focus on speaking, reading, and socioaffective. So the CEOP lesson plan that I developed for this student was a reading comprehension that we needed to do for this class, and I wanted to focus on organizing ideas through a story map. None of my students are really that familiar with a story map structure because it's not something that the local English teachers or even a skill that they use to learn Chinese or their language arts. So I wanted to introduce this idea because it's a really great visual scaffolding to help them understand the main ideas of the story and also teach some academic language in English. So I had her choose the book Click Clack Moo, How's That Type? And I think this is an excellent book for maybe some students that are a bit older, elementary age, but still need basic level English. This story is very funny, it's very engaging and expressive in its language, so you can really delve into the language. And I first started by showing the pictures on the bottom right hand, the 4 pictures of diving board, farm, typewriter, and electric blanket. These are 4 words that are pertinent to the story, and I thought that I could try to introduce her to these words and start getting her to think about what the story might be, looking at the cover clues. Now, she had never been to a farm before and never seen a typewriter and never used an electric blanket, and she doesn't like diving or swimming. So it's pretty funny that I chose she chose the book. I guess she was interested in the details on the cover, but she had no background knowledge of any of these topics because it's not cold in Taiwan. Diving boards are not common. There's not really many farms with animals per se here, and typewriters are very old technology for such young students to be familiar with now. But I thought we had an interesting conversation looking at those pictures and talking about them. And then later we read the story together and spot checked through a few pages. And then I modeled how to do a story map based on a different story that we had read previously together. And then she completed an independent practice of writing the story map herself, which I thought was very productive for her. And I think it's a skill that we can develop further in my main classes with other students. She didn't get much interaction with other students per se in this lesson because it was a one-on-one with me and her, but I think that she fulfilled all of the tasks very well and that she enjoyed reading the book. So my recommendations for her as a student is to focus more, for myself as a teacher, to give her more activities that are focused on speaking. I would love to do more role play, readers theater, jigsaw activities, and cooperative learning. I think the key one here is readers theater, but it's a little bit difficult to implement in my classes because they're quite large. I really would like to do readers theater with a small group, and it could be a project maybe with her next semester or something. So I think that role play and readers theater are really great speaking activities to get students more active and motivated in the classroom as well. I'd also like to try poetry writing with her because her writing skills are quite high for her level, but she still doesn't seem to enjoy writing that much even after the journal writing activities. And I think that poetry could be a type of medium that supports her speaking and creative expression and other skills as well. The next recommendation is to develop more visual and hands-on activities to have her more involved in the material creatively. I think that many of my students only view English as a very academic subject to just study and then pass your exam so that you can get into a higher education, a better school, a better job after that. So I really try to focus on the creative expression and critical thinking side of learning a new language. So again, interacting with and recreating stories could be a great activity for her. And then also I'd really like to focus more on reading comprehension skills because this class has definitely emphasized the need for more reading comprehension, and I've seen the lack of reading comprehension in my own students. So I can develop this, I think, easily through a reading journal. As long as the students have access to books, they can go to the library hopefully and view books in the English section. So thank you for listening to my case study, and I hope you have some interesting comments, questions, and suggestions for me. Thank you.